Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today it's a nice lovely sunny day in England, in Northern England, but I've come inside to make a quick little video for you all. So this is my account that I've set up specifically for this. It's called Bishop Basher. For those of you who are English and old enough, that probably means something to you. Okay, so I've played a few games in it. I've had a little mess around, but this is for the video straight after you've completed the battle training. Okay, that's the first thing that you do. So you'll come into your garage. It looks something a little bit like this, except I've managed to get premium for another 22 hours through the, cause I've played on for a little bit, and we'll come on to that in a minute. So your garage won't look quite the same, but there's a few key things to notice. We'll start in the top left hand corner. Firstly, we have the settings. From here you can adjust the graphic settings, the controls, the sound. Okay, things like you can hide spam, you can censor offensive words in the chat messages, accept invites, platoons. I generally leave all this kind of stuff alone. The battle types, which will come on to in another video. Lots and lots of little menus, so you can have a little play with those. Okay, I'm not going to go through them all. So, outside of that, you can also, just a quick one, you can change your server. So there's two servers, EU1 and EU2. Now at the moment we can see here, it shows the ping, which you can't really see in that light. There we go. So my ping for EU1 is 30, it's 24 for EU2. That's the amount of time it takes for a packet of data to be sent from my computer to the servers and get back. 30 milliseconds, 25 milliseconds. So they're alright numbers. These numbers, EU1 and EU2, they show how many people are playing on each server. So as we can see, we've got 89,000 on EU1, 65,000 on EU2. So quite a lot of people online at the moment. I have seen that though, when both of those have been about 90,000. Okay, so it does happen sometimes. A lot of people play this game. It's one of the advantages, and sometimes one of the disadvantages. Moving along. This is your premium account. As I said, you will get premium by doing some missions, which we'll look on into in a minute, or you can buy it using gold. Okay. Normally it works out slightly cheaper if you want a premium account to buy the gold from the online store and then to purchase an account this way than it does from buying the premium account directly from the online store. Create a platoon. When you click on this, you can find any friends that you have in your friends list and invite them to a platoon and then play with them. So up to 3 people, you'll go into the same game on the same team. You can work together. Now when doing this, it's important that you pay attention to what's called the matchmaking, okay, and you select the right tanks to fit with the right tanks. For example, I've got tier 1s at the bottom. If you're a tier 1 tank, you should only ever platoon with someone who's in tier 1. If you platoon with someone in tier 2, whereas I might fight the odd tier 2, you might end up in a game where you're the only tier 1 and everyone else is pretty much tier 3, and in which case you're going to die very quickly and you're going to really piss off your team as well. So if we notice, when I press ready, up at the top it says squad battle tiers 1 to 2. Okay, that tells us what tiers we're going to be fighting. When you start moving up the tiers, you'll notice some tanks, for example at tier 5, the American light tank Chaffee, which is a tier 5 tank, it will say battle tiers 6 to 8. So it can see 3 tiers above it and will never see a tier 5 game. Okay, it will never see a game when it is the top tier tank. Okay, there's good reason for that, because it would be ridiculously overpowered in that case. Moving on, big battle button obviously takes you into the battle. This button here, you can select your different types: random battle, rampage, which we're not going to look into now because you really need a tier 10 tank. Team battle, which is when you can play with 7 other players, or 6 other players, sorry, against a team of other players, and there's a chance to win prizes like gold and stuff like that. There's a league. Okay, again, we're not going to cover that because it's tier 6 and tier 8. Tank company battle, similar thing. Strongholds battle, that's if you're in a clan. Special battle, Again, that's if you're in a clan, you've got some kind of tournament, or there's a tournament running, and you can sign up to those, and that's a lesson for another day. Team training, if you click on that, that will allow you to either join a training room or create a training room, and that way you can try out new ideas. Some people play games in it, but be careful, because if you do that, your ammunition costs you money. You will lose money on ammunition, especially in the higher tiers, but your tank is free to repair. Battle training is what we've just done. It's the very first thing, you have to do it. It's when you're driving around the T-34. And the proving ground is playing against bots on 2 maps, Mittengard and Mines. Okay, we'll have a little look at that in another video. Further along, you've got your gold, and if you click on that, you can buy some more. So as you can see, I've got 0 gold. Here, you've got your money, okay, your silver, which you can spend on buying tanks, buying new ammunition, buying upgrades and so on. If you really wanted to, you could exchange gold for silver. Never do that. I think it's a waste, absolute waste of your hard cold cash, because you've got to buy this stuff, and there's very little point buying this stuff to turn it into credits, because you can earn those by playing games. This up here is what's called your free experience. Okay, and you can use this to either research modules on tanks that you don't have enough experience in that tank to, which we'll come on to in a minute, or you can use this experience here to improve the skills of your crew. So if I take Unterfeldwebel Alfred Roth, my commander of this tank, I right click on him, go to personal file, I can click on this button for skills and perks, and I can increase his skills using my free experience, which I'm not going to there. Moving down, time and date, pretty obvious. Garage is where we are now. It shows you your tank, and there's some information about the new changes that they've added to the game. Armory, that can either give you a detail of all the different types of shell you've got. You can click on vehicles, and you can either buy vehicles. I've got it set to tank destroyers at the moment from all nations. Equipment modules, you can try and buy all these things from the store. You click on depot, this is what you've got. Okay, so you can sometimes come into the depot, click on shells for example, look for the shell not compatible with any of my guns, and it will show you a list of them, and then you can sell them if you choose to. Again, modules not compatible with my vehicles, you can find them and sell them. Okay, if it says on vehicle, it's on vehicle. If it says in depot, it's obviously in the depot, so you can maybe sell it, earn a little bit of cash. Service record. Here this shows you the number of battles you fought, your win rate, your average experience per battle, your maximum experience per battle. Fairly obvious, you can work your way around this. And you get your awards, certain valuable awards, okay, like this one, Top Gun, that's for destroying at least 6 enemy vehicles. I've got 5 of those. Fighter, destroying 4 or 5 enemy vehicles in one battle, 7 of those. Duelist, blah blah blah, it tells you what they are. You can hover your cursor over these and it'll tell you what you've got. You can also click on awards here, search your way through all your awards. Ones that you don't have, you can hover over and it'll tell you what it is that you need to do to get it. Statistics, again it gives you general parameters, fairly obvious, but can be quite useful. The one I find most useful in particular is vehicles. It shows you how many battles you've played in it, what your win rate is in it, your average experience, and whether you've got mastery, which you can get all the way up to ace tanker. Okay, so my highest win rate is in the LTR, the Lichtentracht. Oh no, it's not. It's in these two here, 83%. That's pretty good. I've only played 6 battles, so I can't really say much about them. Click on award, it tells you what awards you've got on them. Tech tree. This shows you the list of all the tanks arranged by nation. Here you're starting off with your first tank that you can get in all of them, and it shows you the different ways you can go through them. Okay, so for the British line there's a lot of tanks to go through. After tier 1 you've got a lot of choice. Germans not so much, the Germans branch later on. Here we can see I can buy these tanks by clicking on that button there. It'll bring up this little window and it will let me buy crews. So at the moment I can buy a new tank crew at 100% skill without paying money for it, which normally you have to. Okay, these ones in the green with the star, that means I need to research them. Barracks shows you your crew. So you can select in vehicles, in garage, in barracks and in vehicles, or just in the barracks. So these are crew members that don't have a tank at the moment. Stronghold we're not going to look at. That needs to wait for when you're in a clan. Down here we can see our crew. So as we can see, they're all 100% trained, which you will find on all of your tier 1 tanks. You will notice that apart from the commander, they seem to be on 110%. That's because the commander gives 10% bonus to the other 2 crew members. So that means that the driver will drive a little bit faster, handle a little bit better, and the loader will load a little bit faster. Okay, so different crew members do different jobs. And if you look really carefully on the commander, okay, it's got right here, you can see a pair of binoculars, which means he's going to do some spotting for me. You can see like a headset, which means he's a radio operator, and you can see this little symbol for a target, which means he's the gunner as well. The driver just gets the steering wheel, because all his job is to drive, and the loader gets some shells, because all his job is to do loading the ammo. If we click on research, it shows the modules that you can research and buy. So you get a choice of 2 guns, and that's it. Okay. When you come to research this, it'll have a little green thing. You can click on that to research. I advise you do that as soon as you can, and then you can buy it. Okay, we'll talk about the choice of guns on the different tanks in other videos. You'll also get information about your tanks, how many hit points, that's how much damage you can take, the engine power, the top speed, the traverse speed, which is how quickly the tank will turn, the armour in millimeters, so at the front first, then the side, and then the back, so it's 14 mils, 12 mils, 12 mils, same for the turret. The standard shell damage, so it can do between 27 and 45 with an armour piercing shell with this gun. The standard shell penetration, 30 to 50 millimeters, which as you can see is more than enough to penetrate the armour on these tanks. At 14 mils, 30 mils of penetration is going to go straight through it. Rate of fire, how many shots you can fire in a minute. The reload time. The turret traverse speed, which is how quickly you can turn your turret. And the view range, the base range and the actual range. So if I was to say mount some telescopes on, you would see the range for the actual range. When I'm stationary, leap up, and certain skills and perks will put it up as well. The signal range is how far your radio operator can speak to people. Okay, so it's how far on the map you can keep in contact with other tanks. So anything that's within 276 meters of my tank, I can see what they can see. They'll appear on my map. At the bottom, you can click on these and you can select which thing you want. It also gives you some information about the different weapons and the different modules that you can mount on your tank. In this slot, we can mount equipment like camouflage net, telescope. Again, we'll come on to that in another lesson. Down here, if you click on that, it does the same thing as clicking on one of these, brings you to the same menu. It does the same thing as clicking on service. Okay, automatic repairs, you probably want that on. It doesn't matter for tier 1, your repairs are free. Ammunition, automatically resupply, may as well have it, especially because at tier 1, as you can see, the armour piercing ammo is not costing me any money. Consumables, they're things like first aid kit, repair kit. I advise that you use those on your tanks, all of your tanks, in this order, which again, we'll come on to in another video. Finally, at the bottom, we have our list of tanks from all the different nations that you start with. You'll notice a little ×2 here. That means I've got ×2 bonus for the first victory of the day. In here, we can filter our tanks by nation. We can filter our tanks by type. We can filter our tanks by tier. And we can filter our tanks by whether they're elite. In other words, if you've researched everything on them, whether they're premium, you paid for them with gold or real money, whether you've got the multi-experience, the ×2 bonus, whether they have mastery or not, Okay, mastery, again, is whether you've got first class, second class mastery, whether they've got a complete crew or not. And then you can also make some tanks a reserve. So if you want to keep a tank but don't want to see it in the carousel at the bottom, you can right click on it, set as reserve, and it disappears. Then to find it, go back there, and you can reverse that nice and easily. Okay, other things, right click on a tank, click on vehicle details, tell you a little bit about the tank, what kind of equipment it's got, and what kind of crew it's got on it as well. Also, statistics will take you back into the service record and tell you how well you've done in that tank. You can sell your tank, you can go into the research, you can even set it as your primary tank, so that means that will come on, that'll be the first tank that it will come to when you load in. Okay, so that is going to be it for this video. My next video we'll have a little bit more in-depth look at the proving ground battles and how they work. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave any comments, and recommend your friends. Enjoy.